friends, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are creating the page on the right, so the black page. I'm starting off with some Prima paper texture paste. And if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know that this is my favorite texture paste. So I'm just putting it through this stencil. And this is The Crafters Workshop stencil. It's really cute, one of my favorites. Some of the color from previous usage came kind of down with the texture paste, but it's okay. While it's still wet, while the texture paste is still wet, I'm going in and adding some of this Spectrum Noir Sparkle watercolor, because I've put it on when the paste is dry, and I thought, well, what happens if the paste is not dry when I put the watercolor on? Because I thought maybe I'd get more of a saturated color, which I think to an extent I did. It didn't give me quite the vibrancy that I was looking for. So you'll see later I go back and amp that up. But I started with the medium color, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably should have gone in with this yellow, but the yellow will push I guess that's a kind of orangey color, away a little bit. So I'm putting the yellow along the edges. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the same thing with the blues. Now, I'd been planning on having this background be white, kind of like the other page. But this was a really messy technique. So the watercolor kind of went everywhere. And since the Spectrum Noir is actually an ink, it's a sparkle ink, the ink kind of stains that background. And so I don't think I showed this, but I painted that whole background white with some Prima white gesso first. And so the ink stains. If it was actually a watercolor, I think I could have just spritzed it with a little water and wiped up the water after the texture paste was fully dry. Sadly, I didn't do it that way, or I guess not sadly. Oh, sorry. There is a bird looking in my house right now. It's like, how do I get in? Silly bird. Anyway, I'm adding in the darker blue color because this time I wasn't an idiot and didn't do it backwards. Sometimes, man, sometimes. Now I need to apologize because it's been a few days since I've uploaded a video. I've had this one done for a little bit, but I have had strep for about a month and it just got really bad and I sounded like death. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just sounded like I was dying and it was just not gonna happen. Making a voiceover, it was not gonna happen, and even if it had happened, you wouldn't have wanted to listen to it. So I gave myself a couple days, took a second round of antibiotics, and have been feeling much better. So I'm hoping that that's the end of it. It's kind of sad because I've been self-quarantining for like 2 weeks now. And of course, now we get into a global pandemic and I have to quarantine with everybody else. So I'm a little lonely, but what can you do? Next, I'm taking this Jane Davenport mixed media pen. I really like her pens, and I am just going all around and filling in the negative space with this black. This is the fourth pen I've used on this background. So this technically is still part of my February capsule collection crafting, but my black Sharpie pen killed it. Like, I killed it because I ran out of ink. And then I used a different Sharpie pen, killed that one. Then I used my other Jane Davenport marker that's similar to this, killed that one. And so finally I went and bought this new one and finished this whole page with it. I went ahead and just even recolored the half that I'd already finished with those other 3 markers, just so that it all looked the same, which I think was worth it. But it was a very upsetting night when I kept going through markers. I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to get this done. But I think that's one of the cool things about art journaling, is you can kind of just keep going until you get where you want to be. And so that's what I did on this one. I just kept going. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I should end it here. Maybe I should end it here. And I was like, nope, gotta keep going. So I decided to black out all the background just to get rid of all that extra ink, make it a little bit cleaner, and I think it does look much better here. There you can see I was pointing to that really pretty flower. Well, the rest of them are just normal how they dried after everything dried. Well, the one I was pointing to, I went back and ink blended over the top. And so you'll see that's what I'm going to do now. So I tried it out just to make sure that it would work before I filmed it. I'm going to go in with the lightest color, and I think this is Honey Pot. I don't remember all the names of the inks, but these are the Spectrum Noir hybrid inks, I believe. They're the ones that you can kind of do all the fun Tim Holtzy techniques. They're basically distress inks, but from a different company. So I'm going through and next adding the medium color, and I'm going about 2/3 of the way up those leaves with that. You could probably do this with the blending foams, but this paper texture paste, it's going to kind of rip those foams apart. So you're not going to be able to use the foams as long. The brushes just kind of glide over the rough edges and don't get caught. So you're not ruining your blender brushes. That's why I'm using them. Usually they take a little bit more time than the blending foams, but in a case like this, it makes more sense to use them. Next, you can see I just added the darkest ink. Then I'm coming in with these 2 blue colors. On the last one, I used 3 colors. On this blue flower, I only used 2. I don't think that it's a big deal either way. So just going on, adding that light blue color over the whole flower. Then I'll come in with the detail blending brush and add those those low lights, which I think, especially on these blue, just was 100% the right thing to do. You don't see a lot with this lighter color, but here as I come in with the darker color and blend the dark shade in, it looks so much better, so much more dimensional than how I had it with just the watercolor. So taking the time to actually kind of finish your projects, doing those little extra details, it takes time. And so if you're making a card that you're going to send to somebody who you know is just going to throw it out, if it has finishing details, or if it doesn't, don't do the finishing details. But if you have somebody that you're sending a card to, or if you're making an art journal like I am here, that kind of thing, something that's going to be kept and enjoyed, doing the finishing details, I think, is the best way to really enhance what you're doing. So here you can see I'm adding some green. I think this was the only one I shouldn't have done, because it made the greens more green and less teal, which the teal kind of matched the other side of this layout. So next I'm going to add some Distress Microglaze, and this is just holding in all that ink. It's basically making an ink-proof barrier so that anything I do on top of this isn't going to affect or reactivate that ink. I liked where I was, and I didn't want to regress from there, and that's why I'm using this Distress Glaze. You're not going to be able to do anything water-based on top of this. So that's kind of when I want a waterproof barrier, when I'm done doing water media, I put this Distress Microglaze on top, and then I don't have any issues. Everything stays the way it is. So that's why I'm doing that. You can use there are other products. A lot of them come in like spray cans, but this is what I like to do. And you can see I went in there with my fingers, really got it in. Next, I'm taking this microfiber cloth and buffing off all the excess. Then after that, I'm taking the Distress Collage Medium, and I'm going to add that over top. If I hadn't have put the Distress Microglaze on first, then the Collage Medium would pick up a lot of that color and smush it all around, because the Collage Medium is actually a water-based product, so it interacts with water-based media, which may be what you're going for, but I was absolutely not going for that here, because it would have ruined my pretty flowers. The red and yellow ones would have turned an ugly, muddy green brown as I picked up the other colors on that page. So that's why it's important to think through next steps before you take them. Because I've been there when I've made something beautiful and then I put the Collage Medium on top and it was like a oh no moment. And a lot of times the Collage Medium doesn't pick up too much of that color, but even a little bit kind of dulls down the whole look. So I'm using this spatula just to put the Collage Medium on the paper, and then I'm using my fingers to actually rub that in, because it's so dimensional that really helps. Next, I'm going to take just this one pit marker, or I think I went through with a light blue as well, and added just to the edges around those flowers a little bit of the lighter color in. Just kick the vibrancy up just a hair. Once this is dry, it's permanent, so you don't reactivate it, but you can smush it around until that point. Sometimes I'll go ahead and add another layer of Distress Collage Medium, but I didn't add very much of this. So I just went ahead and left it. I left my art journal open for a day or two just to make sure everything was fully dry. I added my little sentiments with some stamps exactly the same way as I did my last art journal page. I'll link that one at the end here, but it was exactly the same, and then I just collage glued it down with the Distress Collage glue. So it was really simple. I felt like this video was long enough that you didn't need to see me stamping a couple words and then cutting them out with scissors. It was that easy. I thought this Bible journal page turned out really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I have some extra fun videos coming up. And now that I'm hopefully no longer sick, I'll be able to keep posting like normal. So I hope you guys have a super wonderful day. Don't feel too cooped up if we're still in the whole coronavirus thing when you watch this. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.